Thumbs up, sign something.
Yes, sir.
All right. Unfortunately, you won't be able to see me today. If you did see me, I would look like this. I am chill, baby. I am straight chill. So welcome to another rendition of Mr. Ray's Real Estate Millionaires, baby. If you are hunkered down, if you got your covers on, you still got lights, baby, you're in good shape. We are here today to talk to you about real estate millionaires, baby. That's how we're doing it today. I hope everybody is safe and warm. And, we've been using this word unprecedented. Seems like we've been using that word so much. It's just crazy. But, truly unprecedented times. We thought 2020 was bad. Wait till we get to 2021, baby. Here we go. So let's go ahead and get this thing started today. I had a sermonette for you, but I'm not gonna be able to play it. I'm gonna save it for next time. All right. It's a good one though, but I'm gonna have to save it. So we're gonna talk about tenant acquisition today. Tenant acquisition today. And so the ground rules are as follows. Again, we always want to make sure everybody stays muted. All right. We also want to make sure that you ask your questions over there in the comment section. And then as usual, I need your feedback, baby. I need your feedback. So the agenda for today is as follows. Make sure you're muted. Let me see if everybody's muted before we get started here. I don't want to see anybody that's not muted on this line. Also turn your cameras off. I'll give you an opportunity to turn your cameras on a little bit later. So let's talk about our agenda. So we're going to review our quiz, first quiz that we had, and then we're going to talk about tenant acquisition. Part of tenant acquisition, how are we going to market for our new quality tenants? There's a key word there, quality tenants. And how do we screen them? What's the application process? And then also the final selection and criteria. My Rayism today is life is too short not to pursue your passion with everything that you got. I mean, if you're not pursuing your passion, baby, that's on you because life is too short. Give it all you got, baby. Don't leave none. I need you to give it all to me. So first of all, I got to start. We had 3 winners for the quiz. Only 3 people got it right. Brittany, Clay, that way to go, Tiffany, and Lila. Only 3. Where are my brothers at? Where are you, my brothers? You are not represented here. You didn't get the quiz right. Well, let's talk about it. Let's see why you didn't get it right. And we're going to see if you can step your game next time and get the quiz right. So let's talk about the quiz, baby. So here are the here's the quiz. So we talked about the ARV is 200K. Said we got closing costs of 3,000. We're going to finance it at 80%, 4.74 for 20 years. We got annual taxes of 1,500. We got insurance of 1,500, and we got maintenance and vacancies at 5%. All right, so that's what we're looking at, but we have to solve for something. So what are we solving for today, Mr. Ray? Well, I wanted you to solve for the monthly rent using the 1% rule. I wanted you to figure out what was the monthly mortgage payment, what are the monthly net cash flows, and then the net operating income. All right, here we go, baby. Y'all didn't get it right. I need you to work on this because this is key. This is how you make money right here. Making sure that you get the numbers right. Don't fall in love with them homes, baby. I'm gonna need you to fall in love with them numbers. So here we go. Here's the answers. So let's start off. We have the ARV of 200,000. Now I always say if there's closing costs, you want to make sure that you go ahead and add in your closing costs and the amount that you're going to be financing. You don't want to take that out of your pocket. The banks will normally let you finance that. So our total amount that we finance is 203K. So we take our 203K and we multiply by 80%. That's our loan to value. And so we have an amount that we're going to get financed at 162,400. So now we got to figure what our monthly payment is. So you had to have an amortization schedule to figure this one out, right? You needed to plug in the 162.4 at 4.75, 20 years, and you would get a payment of 104947, right? Using your amortization schedule. If you do not have the amortization schedule, you make sure before we get off this call, or you text me and you say, Ray, I need that Excel spreadsheet for the amortization schedule so I can get this number right here. But that was the first answer right there. And so the next question was, well, what's the monthly rent? Well, we said we use the 1% rule. The 1% rule means that for any property that you rent, whatever the after repair value is, you got to at least get 1% in rent. In this case, the ARV was 200,000, so 1% of that is 2,000. So our monthly rent in this particular case is 2,000. So then we got to figure out what our taxes was. I said the annual was 1,500. So you got to get that down to the monthly divided by 12. Do the same thing on the insurance. Divide the insurance by 12. And then on the vacancy rate, you multiply the 5% times the 2,000. And then you also do the same thing for the maintenance. You multiply 5% times the 2,000. That'll get you what your maintenance is on a monthly basis. All right, so let's figure out this thing right here. So we got $2,000 in rent. We know that the monthly mortgage payment is going to be $1,049.47 because we just figured that. We know the taxes now are going to be $125 a month. The insurance is $125. The maintenance is going to be $100, and the vacancies is going to be $100. So all that added up is $1,499.47. You subtract that from your gross rent, and you get $553 for your net cash flows. Any question? Let's stop right there and see if we got any questions. So where did y'all go wrong at on this? I only had 3 people get it right. Where did we go wrong?
Mr. Ray, on one of the homeworks, it has down payment of 20% of ARV. So it's like 2 different ones that was received. So that was a lot of confusion that happened.
So the ARV wasn't 200,000?
Yeah, so you have, so on one of them it said assumptions, ARV, 200K, and then you got down payment of 20% of ARV.
Yeah, that's right, because the 80% is going to be what you're going to loan, but you're going to put 20% down. 80 and 20 is 100. I don't get it. What did I miss?
So you don't subtract the down payment in there?
The down payment is being subtracted when you do the 80%. The 20% is automatically coming out.
Okay. All right. I got you.
Anybody else confused on that?
Yes. Okay. At the bottom here, when you're giving us this 553. Now, what did you say you did? This is where I lost myself right there.
So the $2,000 is the gross monthly rent. The monthly payment based upon the 162 by 4.75 for 20 years gives you the 1,000. That's what you got to pay the bank, right? Then you got your taxes. I said it's 1,500. You get divide that by 12. You got to get your monthly. It's 125. The monthly insurance was 1,500. Divide that by 12. That's 125, right? The vacancies, 5% of the 2,000 is $100. So when you add all that up, you get 1,497. You subtract that from your 2,000. That's where you get your monthly net cash flow.
Got it. Thank you.
Who else?
All right, this is Don.
Yeah, Don.
So the part I messed up on is I didn't take the closing costs and add it into the financing fee of it. I used to calculator to back that up, and I put the 3,000 in there, but it didn't put it into the financing of it. So that's why my numbers came up short, is why I was asking, how did you get yours?
Yeah, a lot of you all were close, but you made some of you got 3 of them right, some got 1 right, this and that, but we only had 3 people that got it all right. So always, whenever I have closing costs, I want you to make sure you add those closing costs to whatever the ARV, because we're always going to allow the bank to finance that for us. If the bank will finance it, always throw that in there. What else? This is important. I need y'all to make sure you get it, because we're going to have another one. We're going to have another one next week, and I need everybody to get it right.
Hey, Mr. Ray, this is Craig Carter. I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I did was I added my 3,000 after I took my 20%. I mean, after I said 80% times 200,000, I had 160,000, and then I added my 3,000 to that.
3,000 to that. Yes, that's a lot of people did that.
Okay.
So, but
So
this is
you add
the
it in
correct
the
way.
beginning.
Just add it into your 200 and then take 80% of that.
Okay. Okay.
What else?
This is Britt. I got it right, but I need more homework because I literally had to go to the video and do it step by step.
That's all right. That's all right. As long as you get it. That's the thing about the videos, people. You just keep going back watching it. Like, you can go back and watch this video again, and you're going to be able to go through it step by step and get the right answer. Any other questions? I want to make sure I answer all your questions before we move on. All right, then I'm expecting everybody to be 100%. We got another test coming up next week, baby. I'm gonna need you to fall in love with these numbers. One more time before I move on. Any more questions? So, Robert, you said you and Valerie got it right? I'm seeing you over there in the chat room said you got it right. I didn't see you got it right.
Yeah. Yes, Ray, I'm trying to figure out where, because our answers are the same, are the same as yours. So I'm not sure where.
I must have missed you guys then. Did you send me a couple of them?
We only sent you the one answer. I mean,
did Robert
sent ours together?
Two? Robert might have sent me 2 up.
No, he only sent one.
All right, well,
both of us.
My bad. Let me back up. I'm gonna go ahead and give you props right now. That you 2 got it right. All right.
Okay. I just want to make sure that I wasn't missing something, because I'm looking at the answers and I'm like, this is exactly what we sent.
Well, that's bad on Mr. Ray. My eyesight must be getting bad. I must have missed yours. I am so sorry about that, and I will make sure that I get it right for you.
That's okay. Thank you.
All right. All right, let's move on. We'll have another one next week. You'll get another opportunity. All right, so we had one more answer, right? We had the net operating income, and I forgot about that. So the net operating income is your gross rent less all your expenses except for the mortgage payment, okay? The net operating income is except for the mortgage payment. So in this case, we're going to subtract everything out except for the mortgage payment. So we're going to take the 2,000 less the 450. That's going to give us our net operating income of 450. We multiply that times 12, and that gives us our annual amount of 18,600 is what we would get on this. Any questions on that? Any questions on net operating income? All right. Now there's one more that we didn't have that I'm going to answer for you, and that is the return on investment. Return on investment is the net annual cash flows divided by however much money you have invested. In this case, we had 20% down, so that would be our net income. Excuse me, that would be our net investment. So our cash flows, you remember, were the 553 times 12. So we know that we netted this much for the year, right? So we know how much our net annual cash flows were. So we take that times our 40,000 because we put 20% down and we get a 15% return on investments. Any questions? That's pretty good, 15%. Try to go down to your local bank. Say, hey, will you pay me 15% on my money? See what they say. Laura, I hear you. You got that correct, but you didn't get everything else correct. All right. All right, so we're done with that. You're going to get another opportunity to get this right. The thing about getting the numbers right is you got to practice. You know, I got my Allen Iverson hat on. Say, you talking about practice? We ain't talking about the game. We talking about practice. You're going to have to practice. That's the only way that you're going to get good at this game, right? All right, let's go. Now we got to talk about how we gonna get some quality. Now we got these houses, we done run the numbers. Now we got us a house. We need to get some quality tenants in this thing, baby, because that's who's gonna be paying the bills for us, right? So we got to make sure that we get some quality tenants. So Mr. Ray, how do you get your tenants? Well, I post mine on Zillow. That's the only place that I pay to have my houses posted because I can get a wide crowd with Zillow. Right? And so when I post on Zillow, it goes to Trulia, Postnets, etc. I also put a sign in the front yard that anybody know who's driving by in the neighborhood that this house is going to be for rent. And then I also sometimes will put a sign at the end of the street at the intersection pointing to my house, pointing people down here and say, hey, young man's got a house for rent down here. You might want to check it out. So let's go to Zillow. Let's go to Zillow. Let me stop the share right here. And we're going to go to Zillow. That is definitely not Zillow, is it? Hold on. That is Zillow right there. Okay, so this is where I go to put my properties out there so everybody know that I got a property for lease. And if you go into Zillow, they have an area where they say manage my rentals. And here are my rentals right here. So I can go to my rentals. These are all the properties that I have that are my properties, right? So these are my properties. I don't have them all on here, but I got a few of them on here. Some of them are not on here because they've never been vacant. So, I mean, the last 15, 20 years, they've never been vacant. So they're not on here. But these are the properties that I have for rent. Let's say, for instance, I got one coming up for rent that I'm going to be renting. Let me show you how easy it is to do this. Now, Zillow charges $9, I think 99 cents. See here, let's do this one. This is my Drexel property. So if I was going to list this property, I would go in, I put what the monthly rent is, what the deposit is. I'd put all this good information in here on how long is the rent duration. I always do 1 year. Then I tell them about the property. I tell them all this good stuff. Do I allow pets? I would click that. Nope. I would do all this. And then here are all my pictures that I have on this. I don't have very many pictures on this property. I haven't had it vacant in a long time. So I haven't had the lease here. But then right down here, once I'm ready to go, I would just hit publish and boom, it would be gone. So when you go out to Zillow, let's go to Zillow. And when I want to go look for properties to rent, let's say I'm out here, I want to look for a property to rent, properties for rent. I would go in here and I would say, I want to rent, I'm looking for properties to rent, right? And I could put the price I'm looking for. And so my properties will come up in this search. So let's just look at all the properties for rent right here in Oklahoma City. Let's just pick one. Here's one right here. property right here is for rent, 875, 2-bed, 1-bath. See, it's been on the market for 42 days. All right, let's see what it looked like. And this is what my property was in. This is a nice property. They've updated it, very nice. But it's been on the market 42 days. They might have it a little bit over. Oh, this is really nice. They put a little bit of work in this one. All right, so that's what it would look like. And then people would call you. You put my information would come up down here. It would have my name and my number, and they would call me, or else they could send me an email. Okay, any questions? So this is the only place I post. I don't post on anywhere else. I just post on Zillow, and it automatically posts me on Trulia and on Post Notes. Any questions? You see, you got my nice little picture over here. Again, I can go back to my rentals. I can also, if somebody could message me, if I had any messages, they would be here. Let's say if they sent me any messages. I don't have any because I don't have any properties available, but I will. I got 3 properties. We're going to talk about those. I'm going to have available in the next couple of months, and so you guys will be able to see how I lease those. All right, a couple of things that I'll have. Now I have an application here. Make that a little bit bigger. So this is kind of my application. So this is what a tenant would fill out for me, and they can fill this out online. So you can fill it out, send it to me. It's got all the information I want. I want to know how long they've been at their current address, 2 previous addresses. I want to know who's going to be occupying the property. I want to know their employment stuff. And I would definitely want to know how much money they make, right? Any credit obligations. Somebody raise their hand. How can I help you? Who's raising their hand?
Prior to, you've been having property for a while, I think you said over 20 years or about. If I may ask, who did you use prior to Zillow, and why did you switch to Zillow?
I can't hear you.
Who did you use prior to Zillow, and why did you switch to Zillow?
I've always used Zillow. I had never used anybody else.
Oh, okay. So you've used them for a while. Okay.
Yeah, I've only used Zillow.
Okay. I just didn't know how long they had been around.
They've been around as long as I've been around.
Oh, okay.
No, they've been around for about 10, 15 years, I think. Before then, all I had was signs in the yard, before they had anything electronic. Any questions on that? So this is what I would have them fill out. And then once I decided that, that they were going to move in, I'm going to take you through the rest of the process here. But here's a move in, move out document that I would have them to fill out when we move in, saying this is the condition of the home. So we would go through every part of the home. Let's say if the floors were scratched or something, they make SC would put it in there. If it needs cleaning, they put NC in there. So we would go through every room, and they would fill this out. And so this is the condition of the property when you moved in. We sign it, tenant would sign it, I'd sign it. And then when they get ready to move out, then we go back over here on the move out side and say, okay, is everything in the same condition it was when you moved in? If not, then we need to talk about that. What's the estimated repair, stuff like that. Any questions on the move in, move out, Doc?
Mr. Ray, I have one quick question. This is Chris Royal.
Yeah.
So how do you distinguish between if there's more than 2 bedrooms, or say if it's just 2? Say if it's more than 2, because I saw it said bedroom 3. How do you distinguish between 2 and 3? Like, do you say, go from left to right, from, close?
You just decide when you're there. It doesn't really matter. You can just say, usually the master bedroom is number 1, and then the other
Right.
from there. Okay. Any other questions?
I had a question, Mr. Ray. This is Laura. So you do that on the day they move in, or do you give that to them and give them a few days?
I'll give it to them, and so I'll say, hey, This is how you fill it out. This is what I'm looking for. So I only want you to fill in this column right here. So they would go in, they would fill it out. And, you know, a lot of times I have a hard time because when they moving in, they trying to move in. They ain't trying to do this, right?
Yeah.
So what I always have to, you know, say, okay, now, if I don't get this back, I'm going to fill it out. I'm going to sign it and I'm going to put everything was good. And when we move out, then I'm going to say you had an opportunity and you didn't fill it out. So I'm assuming everything was good when you moved in. And so we're
Okay.
the move in date and the move out date.
Mr.
Okay,
Ray,
so-
this is Craig Carter. I have a question.
Yeah.
I know you're giving this out and you probably said this. You don't walk it through it with your tenant to agree what they see and what you see?
Well, see, I've already, before I gave it to them, I already know what condition it's in, right?
Yeah, right. I understand it, but I don't know. I just asked if you know, you walk it through and
No,
say,
I don't have time to walk through it with you. I mean, I know what condition of my property. I'm gonna look at this list and I'm gonna see if you came up with anything.
I got you.
And usually if they say, well, this is scratch and that's scratch, and I was like, okay, but is it broken? Does it need cleaning? You know, stuff like that. So I'm looking for big stuff. I'm not really looking for, you know, little stuff here. I'm looking for big stuff.
Gotcha.
What else? Okay, the other document that you're going to need for them to sign, in addition to the application, the move in, move out, you're going to have to, if your house was built before 1978, you're going to have to fill out what we have a lead-based paint hazard deal here, right? And usually what I do is I'll put in here, Lacer has no knowledge of lead-based paint, right? So I'll click that right there, and you know, and then I'll give them copies of these books that you're required to give them. It's called the Protect Your Family book, and you leave them a copy of that, and so that they know this house was built before 1978, so it could possibly have lead-based paint in it. But me as the leaser, I have no knowledge of any of that. So you never want to say, hey, I know some lead-based paint in here, and I'm leasing it to you, right? We don't do that. You just say you don't know anything about it, and normally you don't. Unless you do, and then you don't lie if you do. Any questions?
If you do, then what? Like, then what?
Then you have to check this box up here. You got to say, you know about it or present in this house. And then you got to come down here. If you got any reports, then you need to add those reports and you need to give it to them. Say, hey, well, we found lead-based paint over here in this corner, but we remediated it and everything is good. And then you got to, both of you got to sign this. This is a federal government required document if your house is built before 1978.
So if it has had lead-based paint and you found out about it, whether it's been rectified or not, you say you know, and you have to rectify before leasing it
Yes.
legally. Okay.
You do. And so all of my properties before 1978 have lead-based paint, right? And then I go in and I paint over them, right? And so as long as you don't have any chips anywhere, you know, where kids can pick it up and eat it, as long as you got all the stuff cleaned up and you got everything painted over with new paint, you should be good. You don't have to worry about that. But if you got chips and stuff and you haven't taken care of that, then you opening yourself up to some exposure. But usually if you scrape and paint, you don't have to worry about the lead-based painting. You just say, here, I got no knowledge. Everything is good. We're going. I've never had any problem, but I've known some people in some other states that have had some problems with this area because they didn't have them sign this document, number one, and you know, kids got sick or something happened, and then there they are. All right, any questions on that? And then the last thing I want to show you, then we'll go back here to our is the lease, right? So here's my lease. And I just highlighted a few things that I like to, I like to take them through when I'm talking about my lease. One is, I only do 12-month lease, talk about the rent, what day it starts, and then what day it's going to end right here. How much is the rent going to be? Put that in there. I also have, after the third, I have a $25 late fee plus $10 a day after that. Now, I got this in my lease, but if I ever take them to court and the judge says, you charging them $10 per day, I say, yes, judge. He said, I ain't letting you, they don't have to pay that. They only have to pay the 25, but I keep it in my lease anyway, just to deter people from being late on my rent, right? So if you're after the third of the month, then I'm charging you $25 plus $10 a day. But if I take you to court and I lose, I'm not gonna get that $10 a day. Security deposit, it will be right here. Who's all gonna be in the property? And right here, this is my biggie. No pets in the property, baby. Do not bring them on my property. I don't want to see them. They tear up my stuff. You can't assign the lease to nobody else. Let's say you decide to leave, you want your brother or sister to stay there, you're going to sublease it. No, we don't do that. You're still responsible for the lease. All these prohibitions in here, you can't do this, you can't do that. I had this in here. Remember back when we had water beds and aquariums and stuff? Now you can't have none of that in my property, baby, because you're just going to bust it in there doing all kind of stuff. I don't have nothing to do with that. No water beds, baby. Do y'all still have water beds out there? I bet some of y'all do. All right, but anyway, and then if they decide that after the term of the lease is over, they got to give me a 30-day notice before they move out. And if I decide that I don't want them to live in my house anymore after the 12-month, 1-year lease, I got to give them 30-day notice also. They're responsible for the utilities. I got to have emergency access. If, the house is burning down, flooding or something like that, I need access. Repairs, I'm going to take care, make sure the heat and air and electricity and all that's good. But if you break it, this is basically what it's saying here. If you break it, you're going to repair it. And you can't make no improvements on my property. You can't paint my walls pink. You can't knock down no walls. You can't do nothing unless you get a written permission from me as the landlord. If you're late after the 5th, I'm going to send you a 30-day notice. Say I'm going to be evicting you. So just so you know, I don't play around with that. When it gets to the 5th, baby, you're getting a 3-day notice from me to vacate my property. And if you go after the 6th, then you basically violated the terms of the lease. The lease is now null and void, and I don't even want you in my property. Attorney's fees, that's just some legal mumbo jumbo here. Again, you can't be doing nothing in my property without my consent. No alterations. If I got to take you to court, I'm gonna make you pay for the court costs. Again, no subleasing, no waivers. All notices. Let's say if they want to give me a notice, Mr. Ray, you didn't fix this, you didn't fix that, and I called you and told you about it. Well, it's not even legally binding unless you send me a notice after I decide. Let's say after 3 days or 5 days, I don't fix it. And you say, well, I'm just going to leave. You're still going to be responsible for that because you didn't give me nothing in writing, right? All right, any questions on that? I went through that kind of fast, but that's my standard lease.
Mr. Ray?
Yeah.
Question. Robert has a question here. Is this a standard lease or is this something that you've done yourself?
This is my lease agreement.
Okay, so you put this together yourself?
Yes. Well,
okay.
I don't do anything original. My Rayisms, I steal them. This lease agreement, I stole it. I just made it my own. If it's out there in the public domain, I got access to it.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of templates out there. I just like this and I've been using it for years. And anybody wants a copy of it, they're free to have it. Any of the documents that I have, my lease agreement, my move in, move out, all these documents are available for anybody on my team to use. You just have to put your name in it and make it your own. So no biggie. Any more questions?
Mr. Ray, this is Christina.
Yes.
I have one. With the subleasing thing, does that cover like them not being able to do like Airbnb and stuff like that in your property?
Really, they can't do Airbnb in my property. Yeah, that covers that.
Okay, just
I
want to
didn't
make sure.
think about that, but yes, I'm thinking you can't do Airbnb in my property. I'm the owner. You're not even only the owner can do Airbnb.
I just
I
know
know
there's
people do
people
it.
who,
You're right,
yeah.
Christina. There's people that do it, but they're not supposed to. But yeah, that subleasing covers that in the lease agreement.
Okay.
Let's see. Any other questions? Subleasing. Tenant shall not assign this agreement or sublet this dwelling without prior written consent of the landlord. Such consent shall be totally at the landlord's option.
Mr. Ray, I have a question for you, and this is just a question off since last year, the COVID-19, they had made the order that you could not evict anyone. How did that affect you? And I guess you have to continue to pay because it's your home.
Yeah.
So how did that affect you last year?
It affects me this year. And so I'll just quickly go over that. So, man, I got that because I've had to, I'm in the middle of an eviction right now. And so a couple of things. Number one is the tenant has to show that they have been impacted by COVID-19, therefore they lost their job, they don't have any money coming in. So they got to show that. Number two, I can't evict them if they're in armed services, right? If they're in armed services and they can show that they're in armed services, they won't let you evict them. Number three, if they're in any type of forbearance or anything to do with the government, I can't evict them. Also, if they are, I think it's there's some handicap issues, some other things like that. There's a lot of things that I can't evict them for. And then they have to sign an affidavit for all those things too. So they say, if I show up for court and they come in and say, hey, I'm this, I'm that, they have to have a sworn affidavit that they're either, that COVID, they lost their job, that they're in the armed forces, all those issues I just said, they got to sign documents. And also, I can't evict them if I have a federal loan and I'm in forbearance, or if I just have a federal loan on this house by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or any of that, I can't evict them. So there's a lot of reasons I can't evict. All of my homes, though, I don't have any federally backed loans on any of my house. They're all with private loans with banks, right? So I don't have no FHA, no VA, no, none of that. So if I had any of that, I couldn't evict them from my property. Any questions? So I have one right now that I'm going through the eviction process. I wish I had time. I would show you all the documents that I have to sign, but I didn't take their names out of it yet, so I can't put anything up to show you guys. So next time I'll try to remember to put those documents up so you can see. I mean, there's a lot of paperwork that you got to go through to evict someone right now. The thing about now, though, even if they don't allow you to evict them, every month that they get behind, that adds up. And so at some point, the forbearance is going to be over. All that rent's going to be due whenever it's over. So we've been about a year now. People ain't been paying rent. Well, when it's finally over, they're going to owe a year's rent. So a lot of people are going to have to leave those houses. But the impact is to the owners. If you have a loan on this property, you still have to pay that loan. You still got to pay insurance. You still got to pay maintenance. You still got to fix it if something broke. But you got to do all that, and they don't have to pay you any rent. That's why a lot of landlords are going under right now. But I'm not one of them. You know why? Two reasons. One is most of my properties is paid off. Two is I have enough resources and reserves that I can cover all my properties for years if they remain vacant. Every one of my properties, those properties could remain vacant for 3 years and I still have reserves.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Can an owner lease a home that have what do you call it, bars on it, front or back?
Yeah, you can lease it, but you're going to be held legally. What can I say? If that house catches on fire and they can't get out of there, that's on you.
Is
So
that
I would-
even with me? Is that even with me leaving a key to unlock the bars?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
If they can't get out of that property and it's due to those bars being on, how they gonna find the key in the house burning down?
Yeah. Okay.
So you're
Same
legally,
way as I would anywhere else.
huh? Yeah, I used to have bars on some of my properties, and for good reason. People were breaking in houses, this and that, but it got to the point that, you know, you start seeing people in these fires and they can't get out of their house. That's not good. So bars are old school. If you got bars on that track, now I don't mind having bars, you know, on the front doors. Now, you know, people are knocking down doors, but don't have them on the windows. They got to have an escape route. And you should always make sure you have fire alarms, smoke alarms in every one of your properties, and make sure they're working. All right, let's see here. Any other questions on that? We're going to go back to the PowerPoint.
Mr. Ray, I had a question
Yeah.
about not being able to evict a tenant during COVID.
Yeah.
Is that a tenant that's on a year lease? Let's just say their lease was up.
Uh-huh.
You know, you did a month or whatever.
Yeah.
Does that still count if they're not on a lease?
They're still under lease agreement, even if it's month to month. You can't evict them.
Okay.
What else? That's good questions. Y'all asked some good questions. See, this rental business is not without risks. There are risks, but you should take care to mitigate your risk by making sure you're following the laws and that you're abiding by the rules and the regulations of the state and the federal government. Then you'll be all right. I've never ran into a problem. I've been in this business 20 years because I make sure that I dot all my I's and I cross all my T's and I do everything I'm supposed to do as the landlord, and then let the chips fall where they may. I've not been sued. None of that has happened because I always make sure I follow the rules, and you should make sure you do that too. All right, let's keep going. All right, so how do you screen them, Mr. Ray? Well, how do you make sure you're getting quality tenants in there? All right, so here's some of the questions I like to ask. Are you currently employed? Where and how long? That's relevant, right? If you're not employed, you can't live in my house. I'm sorry. And if you've only been on your job for 6 months, you can't live in my house because you haven't shown me that, well, I've been on this job 3 months and this one 2 months and that one, I don't care. If you ain't been on your job for the last 2 years, I don't want you in my property because you're moving around too much. What's your current monthly income? Your income has to be 3 times my rent. If my rent is $2,000, your income at least has to be $6,000 or you can't rent my property. How much is your current rent? Where you're paying right now? You're paying $300 where you are right now, but my property's $800 and you're going to be paying $800 over here? I don't think so. You're making a big jump there. So I want to know how much you're paying currently. Why are you moving? That's a good question, Mr. Ray. Why are you moving? Oh, well, I couldn't pay the rent over there, so I'm gonna come over here with you. Oh, no, you not. We don't do, where they do that at? Why you moving? Well, the last landlord, he didn't fix nothing. And we just always, well, you're not coming over here and give me a headache. I'm not having that. Well, we need a bigger place. Okay, that's a good reason. Well, they wouldn't allow dogs over there. Well, they ain't allowing dogs over here. Boy, y'all gonna have me crying in here. Oh, have you given your current landlord 30-day notice? Oh, you didn't? No, I didn't give him notice. I'm just coming over here, want to come in your house. No, that means you ain't gonna give me 30-day notice when you leave my house. Have you ever been evicted? Yeah, I'm in the process right now. Well, you can't live in my house. Have you been evicted? Yeah, we got evicted a couple of times, but it wasn't our fault and this and that. I don't want to hear. How many adults are gonna, well, we got 10, El Nino and Garcia and Julio. No, we can't have 10 people in my house. I'm sorry. Do you have pets? Oh, we got a pit bull or two. No. How many children do you have? I got 10, and you want them in this 2-bedroom house? No. Any questions?
Do you do background checks?
Yeah, of course I do.
Okay.
Mr. Ray, you so hard. You won't let nobody in your property. You're going to be the right person. You're going to get in my property. I promise you that. Crystal, turn your video off. Crystal, turn your vid. Thank you. All right. What else? Any other questions?
I have a statement actually.
Statement, go.
I also, not only did I do a background check on the person that was going to be on the lease, but a background check on everybody that was going to be, every adult that was going to be on the lease as well.
How much did that cost you?
Actually, it was a total of 30. I done the OSBI background check. Yeah, that's the one that I done. I just done the basic OSBI, which was like $30.
And so do you do that on everyone or just when you decide you want to rent to them?
Everyone that I'm gonna rent to.
Well, that could add up.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of new to it too, so
I can show you a free way. And I'm
okay.
a free way. You can find out if they've been charged with anything, if they've been evicted. The same thing you get from the OSBI is free at Oklahoma County, and I can show you where that is. Now, I'll take you guys through that sometime, how I actually screen them online.
Okay.
And I don't pay a dime.
Thank you.
All right. What else? This good stuff, ain't it? All right, let's go. Now you got past this step. Mr. Ray, I've been employed 2 years. I got 3 times the rent. I ain't bringing Julio and Pancho and all of them. I ain't got no dogs. Now, what's the next step, Mr. Ray? All right, that's good. That's good. So now I'm gonna let you take a look at my property. So I'm gonna say, send me a copy of your driver's license, and then I'm gonna give you the code to my lockbox that I'm putting on that front door. And then after you take a look at my property, I want you to call me back if you're interested in it. At this point, you can request an application. All right? Does that make sense? Any questions on that? So they made it to step 2. Any questions?
So if they don't pass the screening, like you literally just be like, oh no, you can't. What do you say?
You can't come to my house.
Oh, okay.
I don't want you in my house. You didn't pass step number 1.
That's just what you say.
That's what I don't say it like that. I'm sorry, but this property, now you know what I say? You don't qualify for my property.
Okay, thanks.
And they'll say, why? And I'll go through my list. I'll say, you don't make enough money. You haven't been employed long enough. You moving because you already been evicted. I mean, I can go down this list. You got pets. You got too many people in my house. In a 2-bedroom house, you can't have 10 people in my house. So, I mean, I'll tell them.
Okay, thank you.
All right. What else? Any other questions?
Yes, Ray, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, so granted, there are rentals and things like that come in, and qualifications look there, but do you ever have like an ideal renter?
Yes. The one that passes all those tests.
Right.
That's my ideal renter. Because my ideal renter is someone who's been on that job a long time. Somebody that they were living at another property. They've been there for 5 or 10 years. They just getting tired of that property. They want to live in my property now. They want to upgrade.
Right.
So I want long-term tenants in my property.
Got you. Okay. Because I've ran into like certain rental homes, and as they complete after they may have told me about their previous renter, how they destroyed the house or whatever the ideal was, but they're like, oh, but they seemed like the perfect renter. And so I know you can possibly run into those.
Yeah, but you know what I always do? I always talk to the previous landlord. If I can't talk to the previous landlord, I can't rent to you. You know why? Because if I can't talk to them, then there's something going on here.
Right. Okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Hey, Ray, quick question. Are you charging for the application and background check or no?
I don't, no, I don't.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
if they make it past step one, then I know they're pretty good.
All right.
Mr. Ray, what do you ask the previous landlord? Because I'm thinking if there's a slick tenant that say, you know, I'm their cousin, they put me down.
Oh,
and I'm gonna pretend
I
to be
can
the
find out if
landlord.
you're the real landlord or not. I know who owns the property.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
you can't pull that one on me.
Yeah, we used to do that back in the day.
Oh yeah, here, call my sister. She'll give you a good review.
Oh, you don't say your sister, you say, you know, such and such. I got different last
Well, I
names.
know, but it's your sister.
Yes, your sister, your cousin.
Yeah. No, I verify who I'm talking to.
Okay.
Usually, landlords, we work together. So if another landlord calls, let's say I have this happen in my last tenant, she was moving out. So where she was moving to, they called me and we had a real good conversation. And after we had that conversation, they decided not to lease to her. Because she's leaving me, she paid me late. What makes you think she ain't gonna pay you late? And so as landlords, we share that type of information. You didn't know that, did y'all? Oh, we in this together, baby. We in this together.
I have a question.
Yeah.
And I know when you talk about your property, it's different from employment because I know there's only certain things you can say on the employment side. So are there certain things that that the landlord can say to a previous?
Yes. I can't tell them, you know, how much money they made. You know, I can't tell them, you know, how many kids they have, you know, like that. But I can tell them they were late on their rent. I can tell them how they took care of my property. You know, I can tell them things like that.
Okay,
no,
thanks.
I can't tell them intimate details about them. You're exactly right, Roxanne.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, so you made it past step 2. Oh, you're almost in Mr. Ray's property. Here we go. Step 3. If you make it to this right here, you're pretty much in my property. So I'm gonna send you an application. Now on this application, remember I showed you my application, I'm getting everything. Your previous address, your previous 2 address, how much money you make, where you work at, where your previous landlord, your social security number, your driver's license number, your credit card. I know everything about you, right? So you fill that out, you send that back to me. I'm gonna review that application. I'm gonna get on the horn, I'm gonna call the previous landlord. I'm gonna check your employment, make sure you work where you told me you work, right? And sometimes, a lot of times, tenants will give me their previous couple of months checks, right? They'll give me some receipts from the checks that they've had to show that they're working at this particular place. And so I'll verify employment, I'll check references, I'll go down to the county, I'll check the reference, and I also check with the previous landlord. Step 3, any questions on that? All right, now it's tenant selection. You're getting real close now. You almost in Mr. Ray's house. You almost in. And so I'm checking to see what is your ability to pay my rent in a timely manner. If I talk to your previous landlord and you've been late and consistently, let's say the landlord said, well, no, they were late, but they always paid the late fee, but they only were late a couple times. Okay, I get that. But if you late every month, I don't want you in my house. I don't care if you did pay it. I don't want my money late. And then I'm looking at your previous rental history. You've been jumping around every year or every 6 months, you move into another property. No, you can't come in my property because you ain't gonna be here long either. And I'm looking for long-term tenants. You can't have been evicted in the last 2 months. If you come back and I run a check on you, and I'm gonna run a check, If I see you show up on the eviction list in the last, well, no, that was not right because we worked that out and they dropped it. I don't care if they had to file eviction on you. Then that tells me right there something was up. Now this is a sticky one. Okay. I'm okay with roommates and living together and all that, right? But if I can stay away from roommates, I don't like roommates because now I got an agreement with two different people, right? And if one of them go AWOL, then the other one's gonna be stuck there. I mean, I do it, but I like people to be married. That's better. But I cannot not rent to somebody because they're not married. But I'm always looking at it. If I got 3 good tenants and one of them is a married couple and the other 2 are roommates, I'm gonna pick the ones that's married. I'm sorry, I just am. Will they take care of my property? So I will drive by the property that they're currently at to see how they took care. And I will also ask the current landlord, hey, did they take care of your property? Are they nice people? Some people ask me about this. Say, what do you mean? Or that you don't want not like, no, I don't want people to have attitudes. If you come at me and we're well, Mr. Ray, I don't want to do, and I'm already eliminating you because I don't have time to put up with that. I don't do attitudes. Not in my house. Because I don't have to. I have a choice between you and somebody that's nice, and I'm gonna pick the person that's nice. Ooh, Mr. Ray, you something else. Any questions? You better be nice if you want to be in my house, baby. All right, the final step. Let's sign the lease agreement. I just took y'all through that. Have them sign the move in, move out doc. Explain when rent is due. Talk about the late fees. Review the pet policy. What's the maintenance request? And here's a biggie for me. My hours of operation are 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, except emergencies. Do not call me. Do not text me. Don't do any of that after hours, or we're going to have a problem, right? You got all day, 8 to 5, to call me and tell me you got some issues. Don't wait till 6. Don't call me at 6 in the morning. Don't call me 6 in the evening. You won't get an answer from me. And don't call me and say, hey, call me back. If you don't leave me a message telling me what's wrong, you won't get a call back from me. Sign the lease agreement, get your security deposit, give them the keys, give them garage doors opener, and they're ready to go. Any questions? Turn your video off, Williams 1. Williams 1, please turn your video off. Thank you. All right, any questions? All right, so man, we are going long tonight. I was going to tell y'all a little bit about what's going on with my current property. So I got property on Fairchild that tenant moved out. I'm rehabbing that, and I'll be giving you guys some info on that. Rushmore property, I'm evicting them next week. And then my Jordan property, tenant moved out, and I'm rehabbing that. All right, here's homework. Homework, I want you to download a copy of the Oklahoma Landlord Tenant Act. All right, download a copy and I want you to read it because I'm going to have some questions for you. Here are the questions. You're going to have to go back and look at the video to get these questions. If you can't write them down, don't worry about it. I'm going to post a video first thing in the morning. Homework is going to be due next Friday. Okay, so here are the questions that you're going to answer. If the tenant is on month-to-month lease, how many days must written notice be given? On the security deposit, what type of account shall all the security deposits be held in? On eviction, how many days must you give the tenant before you can evict them? What notice do you have to give them? 3, 5, or 30 days? If the tenant abandons the property, leaves furniture, can you just throw that away? And then termination of tenant. How many days notice must the tenant give you before they terminate the lease after it's expired? So again, don't try to write all these down. You're gonna have to go back and look at the video when I post it tomorrow morning, okay? That's one homework. So what are you gonna do, Mr. Ray? I'm gonna download a copy. I don't care if you live in Georgia, Jackson, Indiana, wherever. I want you to do it for Oklahoma because they're pretty similar, right? So you can get on Google, you Google Oklahoma Landlord Tenant Act, and you download a copy. All right, so those are the questions. We'll go over those. You can look at the video later and get those. All right, and then handicap. One last question. Can a landlord deny service to a handicapped individual if they have a dog? All these questions are answered in the Landlord Tenant Act. I want you to read them and answer it for me, okay? All right, quiz number 2. So we got another quiz. Here we go, baby. Here we go. See who's gonna get it right this time. So the ARV is $250, closing costs $3,500. Don't worry about writing it down. I'm gonna put the video out there so you can go back and look at the video and get all this stuff. I'm gonna leave it up so you can see it, right? You're gonna be solving for this. Same thing, the 1% rule. You're gonna solve for the monthly payment, for the net cash flow, the net operating income, and then this time, you're also going to solve for the return of investment. I'm going to leave this up here for a second and see if there's any questions. Any questions? We've been going at this for an hour. About time for us to finish this up. But are there any questions? All right. Again, you're going to have to look at the video. So I'm giving 2 homeworks. You got to do the Landlord Tenant Act. Right? You got to answer those questions, and then you got to answer this quiz all by next Friday. You ain't doing nothing anyway. You stuck at home. It's winter outside. You ain't got nothing to do. You might as well work on the quiz, baby. All right. A couple of housekeeping matters, and then we got to end this call, baby. All right. So y'all just like my tenants. You be calling me all hours of the night, and we can't do that, right? I need to have my time. My office hours are 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. You can text me, call me, do anything you want during the hours of 8 to 5, Monday to Friday. But other than that, don't call me unless it's an emergency. All right? Don't text me. Now, you can email me all you want, but don't call and text me outside of that unless it's an emergency. It's okay to send me an email anytime. But do not call or text me unless I initiate the call. Now, if I text you or call you on the weekend, then you have every right to respond to me. But if I don't initiate it, don't call me. Don't ask me to help you solve the homework problem during the week. Go back and look at the video, right? I don't have time to spend one-on-one time with you. Now, I do, but it's going to cost you. All right. If you want some one-on-one time with me, I'm gonna charge you. My hourly fee is $200 an hour. Who can afford that? You can't afford me. All right. Oh, yeah. And this is biggie right here. If you don't start liking my YouTube videos, and nobody's been liking them, but you go out there and you look at them and you do all that, but you don't like them. So why are you looking at them if you don't like them? If you don't start liking my videos, I'm gonna stop posting them. How about that? How you like me now, Mr. Ray? We didn't know we had to like. Yeah, you do. I'm giving you this stuff for free. All I'm asking you to do is like the video. Why come you can't do that? Now, everybody, when you get off this phone today, I want you to go out there and like every one of my videos. And I'm gonna know if you don't do it. All right, how you gonna know, Mr. Ray? Just trust me. I got prying eyes. I know people that know people, they can find you.
And you
Anyway,
can't say that
just
because I didn't like all your videos and you ain't even paid attention to it.
Who liked all my videos?
Donald Ray Johnson liked all your videos.
Johnson,
Every time you got to check
I believe you, Donald Ray Johnson. You did like all my videos. Now, who else can say they liked all my videos other than Don Johnson? Who?
Roxanne.
Well, how come I only got 2 likes?
I see some that has 7 and 8, and I know one of those are me.
All right. Well, what about the rest of y'all?
I like the ones that I watch.
Really? You like the ones you like? And the ones you don't like,
the ones that I watch. So I'm gonna go like them all now.
Go like them all. Like them. I want you, if you don't like them if you don't like them, but don't watch them if you don't like them. But if you watch them, then you like them. Does that make sense? I got to get out of here. Y'all getting on my nerves. All right, baby, it's time to go make that money. Get out there, do that homework. Let's get it, baby. Minority Real Estate Millionaires. We'll see you guys next time. God bless.
Bye.
Bye.